Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on Cradle, Secret Agent, and Double O, how to do the drone fire strat, or drone strat that will kill Trev and hopefully get you 34. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the background of how it works, some of the details of why it works and things like that, and I'm going to try to give you as much information on what I think will help you get 34, and what will give you the best chances of having a consistent amount of kills per hour and or maintaining pace and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and show you what 34 is, and then I'll stop the video and I'll break it down to you how it works one by one, and then I'll start addressing details one by one. So let's go ahead and get started. So as any Cradle level, you're going to watch both cinemas. You need to do this because you want Trev to walk all the way as far as possible. You kill the guard at the start because he's going to get in your way. You need his gun. You might have two guns. It doesn't really matter. You look up a bit and then you look down. Kill this guard as fast as you can and try to be very fast to this wait spot right here. Reload, shoot the drone, shoot at Trev, kill him, get to the end. Okay. And then you just basically strafe to the end and try to not get stuck on the hole. Don't get stuck on the right side. Okay, and that is Cradle 34. Now there's a lot of things going on, so I'm going to back it up and let's look at the actual kill itself. This is the most important part, and obviously without this, you're not going to actually complete the level. Now, okay, normally Trev has a lot of health. He has more health than we can kill, or we can't take all his health away with 2 rounds, basically. On Agent, what you do is you reload the ZMGs at the same time. You shoot Trev, you do enough damage where the next spot you see him, you hit him again with 2 ZMGs synced up. And what happens is you're doing about 4 hits of damage. Ideally, what you do is you do a double body shot in the hut, and then at the next spot you do a double headshot or a headshot body shot, and that will kill Trevelyan. And then you run to the end and the level ends on Agent. However, on Secret Agent and Double O Agent, Trev has much more health, so we can't do that strategy. And luckily, thanks to a combination of Adam Bozon, Luke, and a bunch of other players such as Randy and Icy, we kind of developed a new strategy where we kind of take advantage of the way that the game actually interprets what's happening. And we exploit some of the damage physics with flames and things like that and how NPCs react to them. So just a quick background. In this game, when a guard has 0 body armor, when they take any damage from a flame, it will instantly kill them. And body armor, basically, when a guard has body armor, when you shoot them, they do not get stunned by your shot. If they have a lot of body armor, like for example, some of the guards in say Bunker 2 or Bunker 1 when the alarm goes off, you shoot them, they do not flinch, and they will just aim at you, and then they'll pretty much wreck you. But if you take their body armor off, so after a few hits, then you can stun them, and you can kill them with flames, or you can just stun them and kill them easily. So in this case, Trevelyan actually has some amount of body armor. So it makes him somewhat invincible to flames. However, if you do throw a grenade underneath him, if he is at the center of the explosion of the grenade will do enough damage to kill Trevelyan, because explosion damage is calculated dependent on how far you are from the center of the flames. Well, what we're going to do here in this strat is we're going to take off Trev's body armor, and then what you do is as soon as you hit him and take the body armor off, the next possible frame you hit him with flame damage, and that will guarantee a kill. Now, the reason why this is so hard is because flames do not do damage every frame, basically. What happens is damage from flames is in waves. So immediately when you blow up an explosive like a box, there's damage. And then you wait a couple tenths of a second, and then you get damage again. And then you wait more, and there's more damage. And then you wait even longer, and there's more damage. I think there's about 4 rounds, 3 to 4 rounds of flame damage that you get from an explosive. So what we're aiming at for this with the drone strat, I'm almost 100% certain, is that you blow up the drone once, and Trev will not get damaged by that initial explosion. But the second or maybe third round of the flames is what's going to kill Trev. And what we're going to do is we're going to sneak in enough damage to take off his body armor so that the next possible frame he takes damage and dies. Now, you may wonder, why can't this just happen more often? Well, the thing is, if Trev takes damage at this spot here after he waits and shoots that bond, he is programmed to then run to the next spot, and he becomes invincible between those two points when he's moving if he has taken damage. So what we're doing is we're killing Trev before that check even happens. That's why that there's such a small window. It's only a frame or two in the game, basically, that Trev can die. So that hopefully is enough background information as to what's happening. The main idea is we take off Trev's body armor. We hit him with flames before the game checks to see if we actually hit him. He dies, and that's that, basically. So let's go ahead and I'll break down what's happening. I'll address every single thing I talked about right now in video. So you blow up the drone. There's a couple myths here that might have some truth to it. I always try to aim for the left side of the drone. Aiming near the tip of the drone where the barrels are is a very good rule of thumb. I think that's a good spot to aim for. So I always try to explode the drone on the left side. And the flame gets spawned here on the left side. So now the next step is to enter the hut. Now if you've played Cradle Agent, which I recommend you do before you go and play Secret Agent 00, is that you have to enter the hut at a very precise time. The way I personally time the hut entry is after Trev goes about right here halfway past the door, or when he comes all the way behind the door, you run into the hut. So I'm reacting to him halfway, obscured by the door, and I start my hut entry. This is a very good hut entry for 34 Agent or for 34 SA or 00. It's the same timing, and I go by that when I'm going for Secret Agent 00. You always want to have fast hut timing. And the second thing is you always want to try to blow up that drone pretty quick. But I'll talk about that more later. The main idea is I'm going to come in the hut and I'm going to try to shoot Trev. If we look, I shot Trev either in the back or maybe a double hit in the arm. And what happened is the flames here is on one of its waves of damage. So he got hit, and then the very next frame, he took flame damage. So he's already dead, basically. It happens so fast. I don't know if I can... So here you can see the flash from the hit of my ZMGs. And then the next frame, basically, he's dead already. So that's how this works. The rest of this run is going to be very similar to Agent. You blow up the console, you get through, and that is that. Okay, so for pace, the music is likely not going to change. And I'm going to turn it up so you can hear. So there's this dun 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 dun. So that da right there at this pillar. If you're at the pillar or like past the shadow, it's 34. Like, just don't choke the ending, and it should be 34, which is what happened in this case. If you're past the pillar or at the pillar, that's a very good decimal, so you shouldn't have any problems getting a 34 with that if you're practicing runs. If you don't kill Trev, I recommend you kind of like play up the level to kind of see what your pace is at. And if you're not at pace, I recommend that you kind of like examine everything that you're doing and seeing where you're try to find where you're losing time. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning, and I'm going to break down the things that I personally do to try to stay consistent at this level, and what I think might help you with killing Trev and getting good pace. Okay, so to start really quick. Okay, as soon as you pull out your gun, I recommend using the Japanese version because it has stronger auto-aim, but if you don't have that, NTSC will be fine. I find that the PAL version is inferior to both. It's much harder to kill Trev. I have not done it at this moment in time, but I've only spent probably about 2 hours going for a Trev kill on PAL. But the idea is you aim all the way down here and you shoot, I don't know, 4 to 5 times to try to kill the guard. I try to limit myself to about 5 shots. I don't like to expend my entire clip because I feel like I lose a little bit of time by doing that. So I did 6 shots there, and then I self-reloaded. and then I have a nice straight line to the corner. One little note, this is a kind of a myth, is to use widescreen or cinema to get a faster trev. I just use widescreen because that's what I had on, and widescreen's fine. Cinema is also, you know, theoretically, not theoretically, but it's a myth that it saves time with trev. So if you feel like your trevs are slow, maybe try cinema. It might give you better luck. Okay, so one little thing. Okay, I killed the guard, and I'm looking up. Actually, I should probably just really quickly review this from Agent 34. When you're strafing to Trev, there's two things. You want to look up like this. Furthermore, when you're approaching, when you're approaching here, you should see Trev go down this catwalk. On full screen, it's much more evident, but you can kind of see that right here is the ramp, and Trev is actually walking, and you want to see Trev kind of meet this ramp right about now. And if you don't, then it's probably a slow Trev. Okay, and then when you're about to pick up the guns, I like to look down a bit to load Trev to make sure. I think that helps make him fast, and also it will, I think, slow down the guard that will enter the hut when you're entering the hut with Trev. There's a guard that comes at the back door. I kind of wanted him behind Trev because his targeting him with auto aim is kind of annoying. So I pick up both ZMGs and I look down a little bit and I approach. And then I turn sharp here and I am looking to see what's going on. If there's a guard here in the very back and he's already doing an attacking animation, like he's crouching or he's put his both of his arms out, then I swing to the right a little bit and try to stun him. And then I try to run down because I don't want to lose time. I don't want to get backed or anything like that. So you want to hit the guard first. And then I see this guard here, and then I kind of like just figure out what's going on, having situational awareness. In this case, there's only one guard, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to full strafe, try to look down to make sure Trev is loaded so he moves quickly, and try to kill this guard as quickly as possible. So I'm full strafing, I'm watching Trev, and I'm getting ready to shoot this guard. And I try to shoot this guard as early as possible, like right here, so I don't lose any time. And then basically when you enter this ramp, you want Trev to be either here or further down. On a very fast run, Trev will probably already be down on this mid platform. But on a slower run, he might be up here or he might be at the top of the stairs. But this is fine. Like right around here is when you'd notice where he's at. And if he's on the mid platform, that's probably fast enough. If he's slower than that, just probably pause out. If he's not even at the mid platform when you're already like a bit down the ramp, he's going to be 35 pace unless you just want to practice. Okay, so one little thing I do, it's up to you how you want to do this, but I like to reload both CMGs to destroy the drone and shoot at Trev. There's one theoretical reason why I do this, and the theoretical reason is if you do a double limb shot, meaning you hit Trev with 2 shots in the limb, it will take off his body armor. If you don't do the double reload, then you are constrained to hit Trev in either the head or the body to take off his body armor so he dies from the flames. So I do this so I have like a little bit of extra leeway with precision, I guess, with aiming. But due to lag and things like that, sometimes the ZMGs will desync, so it's not that advantageous. But the other reason why I do this is because it gives me just a good timing, I feel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this pillar, and then I'm going to hit B just right after I pass the pillar, and then I'm going to aim at the drones and then blow up the drone. So I pass the drone and I'm reloading. I'm going to this wait spot, and as soon as I get here, I'm going to be aiming at the drone. So during the reload, I'm actually aiming at the drone spot. Right here is ideally where your dot would be, or if you're not using a dot, just try to aim and hit that spot. You let the flames, you blow it up as soon as you can. Hopefully Trev is entering the hut like this, and the flames have already like respawned. And then what you're going to do is you're going to enter the hut like you would in Cradle Agent 34. You just try to go in as fast as you can. Basically, you want Trev to be halfway obscured by this door and wall, and then you run in. Okay, so he's in, so that tells me I need to go into the hut. Now, what I end up doing is I try to aim to the left of this door, but mostly just aim into the door, or just into the room. Don't really try to swing your guns at Trev, because if you try to hit him too early, he will likely not die. Because what's going to happen most runs, this run I think is a little bit of an outlier with how fast I spawned the flames and how I ran in here, but most runs you're going to blow up the drone just a little bit later, and in that case you're going to want Trev just to be a little bit, you're going to have to hit Trev just a little bit later, because the time that you hit Trev and the time that the flames hit him are very interconnected, but it's so precise that I can't really tell you to time it. I think what you should just focus on is entering the hut fast and blowing up the drone very fast. And then just aim your guns towards this exit door and try not to swing your guns towards Trev. Just have a good general aim. And no matter what happens, you really can't react to him dying. So hopefully this part is muscle memory as you enter the hut and you go for the console. Obviously in this case, I know he's dead for sure. Sometimes you'll kill him a bit late and you're not sure if he's dead. So like I said, you should always play this out the same. You should always just try to do a fast hut area and don't react to what's happening to Trev. Just try to ignore it as much as possible, because if you react to it, then you might choke it or something. You might do something stupid, which is very common. Okay, so you do a sharp turn left and then you blow up the console. With the console on Secret Agent, it doesn't really matter. Just try to blow it up when you reach it. On Double O, if you aim down and towards the middle of the console, right here, you're very likely to die. I have some slight suggestions where you aim a little bit higher, maybe to the right. You might take less damage that way, but then again, having control over what you're doing at this console is very hard to like have control over. But it's just something that you might want to keep in mind when you are approaching the console on Double O. Maybe look up a little bit more or something like that. So, because in this run I took a lot of damage. If I did this on Double O, I would be dead, totally dead. On SA, you can survive a console hit like that. The other thing to note is sometimes the guard is not in this room, especially if you do that extra look down after the ZMGs. It's very likely the guard is either just entering the hut now, or he's already in it, or maybe he's not even in it. So when you don't see him, in the back of your mind, you have to realize that you're probably going to have to avoid him after exiting the hut. So at this point, this is where my brain sees what's happening, and you can do two things, I think. First, you can try shooting him and kill him and go through him. In this case, that will not work. An easier approach is just to go around him, which is what I did in this one. So I went around him and snaked down the ramp, and that worked. But that's very tight maneuvering. Duh. Okay, so the last music cue, if it's 34, is you want to hear this last horn. Da da, that da. You need to hear that when you're already falling, basically. If you just reach the hole and you like stepped off the ladder and hear that, it's very, it's borderline, but I can't guarantee it. And that's how that works. That's Cradle SA. So I'm going to show you some quick runs of other players and try to note what they do, and hopefully correlate that to just general ideas with this level. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull up. I'm going to pull up Graviton's, aka Ryan Gibbs' run real quick, because it's quite informative as to what he's doing here. So again, he shoots 6 shots to kill the first guard, but you have to wait for Trev anyways. So what he likes to do is he likes to look down early, like before you even get to the ZMGs. And this, I think, also guarantees the fact that the guard will be slow entering the hut. See how he's looking at the hut right here, right before the ZMGs? That's cool. One tiny little thing to note is you want to look up or down. The reason why we look up or down is because there's a guard that's kind of walking up this ramp, up the big ramp. And if you look up, you unload that guard, and Trev will pass through the guard, and he won't get stuck on him, basically. That's why we look up, or I guess in Grav's case, very far down. It will prevent the collision between Trev and the guard, so it'll save a little bit of time. Okay, so Grav does the same thing. He looks and reacts and shoots these guards. Trev is already... Okay. when he swings down, oh, dude, I'm bad. Okay, when he turns around, Trev is already like on the platform, and he's coming down pretty far. And then some of it is because Grav was a little bit, I think, a little slow getting to this ramp compared to my run, but it doesn't really matter. You have to wait for Trev anyways. This clearly shows that Trev is fast, so it's a 34 run basically at this point. So Grav reloads when he passes the pillar, and he's already starting to aim for the drone gun. He double reloads, and he's shooting right when Trev is entering the hut. The flames have entered, or the flames have spawned, and Trev has turned a bit. So theoretically, if Grav has a good hut entry, like a perfect hut entry, he's going to have to hit Trev just a little bit later than you would normally if you kind of like entered the hut and then spawned the flames just a little bit sooner. So I think Grav actually got stuck here for like, actually that's pretty good reaction time. So you see how he's aiming at this guard. He's not aiming at Trev right away. Trev actually runs into the flames just a little bit later. So what happened here is Grav spawned the flames later, and he's aiming at the doorway, and Trev walked into the flames and his gun, basically. And this killed him. And this is, I think, the most like textbook way of killing Trev. It's very likely you're not going to blow up the drone right when he enters the threshold. It's very likely that the flames are going to spawn just a little bit later, that extra tenth or so. And so Trev's going to have to kind of run in your way. And so that's why you aim at the doorway. It's just a good consistency thing. It helps you with the timing and everything like that. It's just the most likely scenario. He gets hit in the body and he's dead the next frame. And then Grav basically does this like everyone else. Good boost off the console, tight turn. The music cue is way past the pillar, very solid decimal. It's a very fast run. So this is a good one to study if you're looking for 34 pace. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at double O run really quick. This is OMG XX, Samuel Haycock's.
But it would be easier.
They're very crisp.
There's a little bit of talking in the background, but he has one gun, so I just wanted to talk about one gun situations. Sometimes you don't get two ZMGs, and it's actually kind of very hard to deal with. Two reasons: it's harder to blow up the drone quickly, and the second reason is you have less volume of bullets hitting, possibly hitting Trev, so you might miss him. And the last thing is the console's a little bit harder to destroy. So if you do get one gun, my only advice is to try to shoot this drone as soon as possible. You have to rush it even, you know. He's shooting at the gun, he's shooting at the drone before he even touched the railing. So that means that he's shooting just a bit faster. The flames have spawned after Trev has already kind of turned the corner. So he needs to enter and then hit Trev a little bit late. So he kind of got stuck a little bit, but he's entering the hut now. Again, he didn't hit him with the first bullet when he could see Trev. He's probably going to hit him with the next one. And he hit him pretty late. Do you see that? See how late the drone fire spawned in this case? It was pretty late. Trev was already like around the corner. And he's just aiming at the doorway. And he hit Trev and killed him. So I think that's like the most consistent way. Is you can't really time the drone fire and hitting Trev, but these are just rule of thumbs that help with getting the kill. And then now, if you have one gun, you need to like aim at the console around the corner and start shooting it ASAP. And that's what he's doing. He already hits it without even being in front of it. Very fast. He got stuck a little bit, but it's not a big deal because you can get a good boost if you're that close to the drone. And again, the guard was at the exit, so Sam did a sick, reaction and didn't get stuck on him. And sometimes your music can get off.
Get it, bro?
So yeah.
Did I get it? Holy fuck.
So Sam gets 34 with this run. So.
Yes!
Okay. And for the last 34, I'm going to show my 34 on double O because it's kind of bad, but it's actually kind of good for a different reason. It shows how tight it can be. So let's go ahead and pull up this vid really quick. Alright, so It's just like all the others. I look up, I look down at the hut, try to do this as fast as I can. Trev is kind of bad, he's actually kind of mid. Reload when I pass the pillar, aim early. I gotta hit Trev a little bit late, so I'm aiming just at the middle of the doorway. I hit him pretty late, but you know, like I said, just aim at the doorway and you'll get a kill. You know, sometimes it's pretty luck based. Good console boost. Okay, but this pace is pretty borderline. You want to be at the pillar when you hear the music change, and I'm just before it. So there's one little trick you can do that might save a frame or two. It's called a Henrik pause, and it's relevant in Train, but it's also relevant here in Cradle. So what you do is while you're falling, there's actually a timer that tells the game when to end. And if you pause right before that timer is finished, the game time will freeze just for like that lag. So when you pause in Goldeneye, there's a bit of lag. If you pause, create lag, and then have the game end, you will prevent the timer from increasing, and it saves like a tenth if you do it well. And that's what I think I did in this run, and it helped made it 34. You know, maybe it didn't need that, but it's something to try to go for when you're right about to fade out. Hit pause on Cradle. It might save that extra tenth. That will make the difference between a low 35 and a 34. So that's everything. I think I covered everything. If you're not sure about Trev in general and some of the basics of this level, I recommend you look at OHMSS's Gregor's Cradle Agent 34 tutorial. It's linked in the forums. It's a very good in-depth tutorial talking about Cradle Agent and how to do the kill and basically everything else about getting good Trevs and things like that. I recommend that as a kind of more of an overview about getting good Trevs and doing the console and hut entries and things like that. This was more about the drone strat and some other tips that we've discovered since then. Hopefully this is useful, and yeah, good luck getting 34s. It's apparently pretty easy now. So that's all. Thank you.